Hello and welcome once again to your favorite nautical television program, the only authoritative when it comes to the Nigerian maritime sector. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. As always, Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, the institution of government statutorily saddled with the responsibility for promoting and regulating all of the activities within the nation's maritime space. My name is Ubong Essien, and I will be your guide on this voyage.
You are watching Nimasa This Week.
Nimasa This Week.
Nimasa This Week.
Nimasa This Week.
It's the voice of maritime.
The voice of maritime.
The voice of maritime.
Please stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on these stations.
Welcome back. It's still Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. We begin, as always, with our DG's diary. What has Dr. Bashir Jamoh, Director General of Nimasa, been up to this past week? Well, it's about the Littoral States Project. And guess what? It was the turn of Ondo State, popularly known as the Sunshine State, to visit the Nimasa headquarters in furtherance of the earlier engagement between the DG of Nimasa and the Governor of Ondo State, the one they call Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, SAN, and representing the governor as the head of the Ondo delegation was no less a person than the number 2 citizen of the state, the deputy governor himself, Honourable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, while the DG of Nimasa headed the Nimasa team. The discussions were fruitful, and you get to find out how important the littoral states are when it comes to the development of the nation's blue economy. Thereafter, the DG took out time in company of the Ondo State Deputy Governor to grace the graduation ceremony of the pilots, operators, and technicians of the air assets of the Deep Blue Project. This event took place at the Nigerian Air Force Base in Lagos. There is also the concluding part of our Know Your Convention with a focus on SOLAS, the safety of life at sea, and the other regulars you've come to know the program with. So, if you're ready, it's anchors away.
The Ondo State delegation was at the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency headquarters in Lagos to interface with the agency on how the state can take advantage of the blue economy. The delegation was led by the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Honourable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, with Honourable Donald Ojogo, Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Mr. Kenneth Odushola, Press Secretary to the Governor, Apostle Felix Rawa, former Senior Special Assistant on Riverine and Community Relations, Honourable Akinwumi Shuwore, former Chairman, SOLAS Local Government. Honourable Aiyedatiwa in his opening remarks commended the Nimasa top management for its effort to harness Nigeria's maritime resources and their willingness to cooperate with the agency.
Let me also commend Nimasa under your leadership for harnessing our ocean resources to serve as an alternative revenue sources. Your plan for sustainable use of Nigeria's abundant maritime resources is indeed in line with Nigeria's economic development strategy. Let me also thank you for your immediate resolve to intervene in some key projects in Ondo State, especially the Technical College in Ayeto, the Nigerian local government of the state, as well as the ocean soil support you promised. Granting of scholarship award to Ondo State Philippines are laudable. Indeed, we appreciate you and your team in Nimasa as a strategic government agency.
The Deputy Governor also restated areas where the state required the agency's intervention.
We believe there are a lot that you can do for us in those countries, especially the area of human capital development, training, and your presence will be very, very visible in the state, so that the potential that we have in our state can be fully harnessed by your agency to benefit Nigeria and the people of the state.
In his response, the Director General of Nimasa, Dr. Bashir Jamoh, welcomed the delegation and emphasized that no nation can develop without harnessing its maritime resources.
No country developed without maritime industry in their own PT as a source of revenue.
The Nimasa boss also sought the cooperation and collaboration of the littoral states as strategic partners in the achievement of the blue economy for the benefit of the upcoming generation.
Many a times if we introduce policy as federal government representatives, we tend to introduce it without carrying the stakeholders as in littoral state alone. But this time around, as I mentioned, it has to do with current and the future generation. We believe the employment opportunities in the blue economy may not be for federal government alone. The states, especially the littoral states, they have to give their own contributions so that they can also benefit, and their members of state they can benefit in terms of the blue economy for employment generation. That's what informed the littoral states and asked them to come and join hands together with us so that we can produce something that they can be proud of and say, we are part and parcel of this policy, and we will make sure that this policy move to the logical conclusions. We move to the logical conclusions.
Dr. Jamoh later handed over scholarship forms of the National Seafarers Development Program, NSDP, to the Deputy Governor for the state indigents. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force, have graduated 43 officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force to man its deep blue assets in a ceremony that took place at the Air Force Base in Lagos. In his keynote address, the DG of Nimasa, Dr. Bashir Jamoh, stated that the graduation of the Air Assets crew was another milestone in the implementation of the Deep Blue project and reiterated the agency's commitment to putting an end to the maritime criminalities.
With the coming into the stream of the Deep Blue project, we have announced to the world that no more we will accept the brigade in our waters. No more we shall condone criminality in our own waters. No more shall we be helpless in the face of piracy. No more will our ocean be safe haven for attacks of any kind. And no more.
Dr. Jamoh appreciated the Nigerian Air Force for the commitment to the project with particular reference to providing facilities for in-country training, having successfully completed the technical aspect abroad.
I wish to sincerely appreciate the efforts of the Nigerian Air Force for the commitment and attention given to the project and controlling us and handling our own facilities, as well as completing this training program, which started overseas some months ago, and now we are ending here.
Also speaking at the event, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao, represented by the Chief of Training and Operations of the Air Force, Air Vice Marshal JMD Gwani, stated that the graduation of Nigerian Air Force personnel will enhance and sustain air power capabilities required for adequate security of the nation's maritime space.
I must say that the graduation of these Nigerian Air Force personnel today, who will be operating alongside personnel from sister services, agencies, and other security agencies, resonates with the Chief of Air Staff vision, which is to enhance and sustain air power capabilities required for joint force employment in pursuit of national security imperatives. To the graduates, I congratulate you on this momentous occasion, which signifies your attainment of a major milestone in your various careers. This also signifies the beginning of greater expectations from you and the service in general, as you are now more enlightened, trained, and equipped with greater capacity to secure our maritime environment.
In his address, the special guest and Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Honourable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, commended the synergy between Nimasa and the Nigerian Armed Forces to secure the nation's territorial waters.
The entire project, the architecture, I want to commend the initiative because Nimasa has been able to bring another form of collaboration for the whole security network of Nigeria. The Army on land, the Navy on water and the sea, and the Air Force in the air. This is a total package. And today also, our own local capacity has been trained to mine all of these security assets. So I want to employ every one of us that have one role or function to perform to ensure that we keep on with this so that there can be continuity. It's not enough to start, but how do we go forward from here?
At the end of the event, graduates received certificates for specialized training as pilots and co-pilots for the Special Mission Aircraft, Special Mission Specific Equipment Operators, Special Mission Aircraft Maintenance Technicians, operators for the unmanned aerial systems, and C4I operators for effective platform manning. The Ondo State delegation, led by the Deputy Governor, Honourable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, and some other state cabinet members, after their earlier engagement with the Director General of Nimasa at the head office in Lagos, took out time to inspect some of the deep blue assets. Their first port of call was the special mission vessels DB Abuja and DB Lagos. They were conducted around the vessels and briefed on the operations of the vessels by the commander of DB Lagos, Captain Uche Aneke. The Deputy Governor had this to say.
I can assure you that our waterways is safe and more people will be interested in marine businesses that had been so unsafe in the time past. Now it's safer. So I want to implore for those who are looking for other areas to invest, come to our Nigerian waterways and our oceans. It's safe and there are a lot of business opportunities that are back here.
The delegation went on to visit the Nimasa Command, Control, Communications, Computers and Intelligence Center, also known as the C4I Center, located with the Regional Maritime Center in Kirikiri, to have a first-hand experience of its operations. After conducting the delegation around the facilities and explaining how the center functions, they were able to ask questions and get clarifications bordering on activities and safety of ships on our waters.
Vessels in our seas, in our oceans, even if they are not coming to Lagos or maybe on the port and other areas, we track all of them from there.
Yes, sir, we can, sir. Apart from those ones that are not transmitting AIS, and of which, once our radars are fully incorporated, we can still detect those type of vessels.
The C4I Center has capabilities for effective maritime domain awareness and intelligence gathering, which are imperative for monitoring, enforcement, anti-piracy operations, and real-time regulation of activities that are carried out in the Nigerian maritime environment.
Captain Green, what are the special measures that enhance security under the ISPS code?
Yeah, the code itself, just to mention, is divided into two parts. We have the Part A section of the code, which is mandatory, and the Part B aspect are recommendations. The recommendations are more like the guidelines on how to implement the Part A, which is mandatory.
Okay.
And some of the requirement there is the administration or the contracting government must set security levels. And the maritime security level are 1, 2, and 3. Once you're operating on level 1, for example, it's a normal day-to-day routine where you don't have to do much, nothing, the port facility itself is not threatened. If you get to level 2, if a port is operating on level 2, it means that there is heightened security and certain measures need to be put in place in case it escalates so that you prevent any intended danger that will occur. In that, then from the level 2, you have the level 3. In level 3, it means there is imminent danger. And at that time, the port facility can be shut down. And it is only the contracting government, which is the executive authority, the master that has that sole responsibility to shut down the facility, to give for the facility to be shut down. Now, we are obliged by the regulation to appoint registered security organization known as RSO to help us carry some of our functions. But these functions have some exceptions. There are gray areas which the RSO will not touch. The RSOs are supposed to help the designated authority or the contracting government to write the port facility assessment document. Port facility security assessment, are known as the PFSA, is to showcase the vulnerability of the port facility to any threat, any external threat that comes in. And once the PFSA is prepared, you have, after identifying the threats, you now have to prepare the port facility security plan.
Dr. Etang, you have discussed the obligations of ships and companies under the ISM code. What is the obligations of the flag states in ensuring compliance of the ships and companies, and what certifications are required under the ISM code?
ISM code, like we mentioned earlier,
also have two sections, Part A and Part B, which gives either a mandatory guidance or a recommendatory guidance. The Part A actually is the mandatory guidance, while the Part B is a recommendatory guidance. The obligations of the flag state as defined either by UNCLOS or SOLAS is to ensure that all vessels flying its flag are safe and secured for every operations. And how is this done is by carrying out enforcement and verifying compliance to each of the elements that is being stated and developed by the company.
Captain Green, you had spoken about different levels to this ensuring security at the ports and of the ship. And you spoke about level 1, level 2, and level 3. So what requirements lead to certifications, or what certifications do we expect under the ISPS code?
Under the Safety of Life at Sea, Chapter 11.2, which the ISPS falls under, requires that port facility must carry out risk assessment to identify threats and risk within the port. And once you do that, you have to equally do the port facility security plan. The plan tends to show measures in place to mitigate against this risk. And once you do that, you have to send it back to the contracting government for approval before those plans could be used effectively in the terminal. And that gives them the backup, the necessary backup to effectively carry those plans. And the requirement is that you must have a port facility security officer, a designated person in the port who is directly responsible for security for the port.
Thank you very much.
To add to what my colleague have also said, for the ship aspects of the ISPS, the audit process, having passed through the interim certification, the full-time certificate is entitled to be audited annually. And the validity of the certificate is for 5 years. And same as the safety management system, the set element in the plan and in the code has to be audited and be reviewed before either endorsement or issuance of the ISSC, which is called International Ships Security Certificate.
Captain Green, thank you very much for coming to this segment. Thank you very much, Dr. Etang, for coming to this segment. And thank you for throwing light on security and safety of ships as it relates to the ISPS and the ISM code. So viewers, that's as much as we can take on the SOLAS Convention today in relation to the ISPS and the ISM code. Until next time, bye for now.
Welcome back. It's still Nimasa this week, the voice of maritime. And as you've seen, there is a lot going on in the Nigerian maritime space. All the 8 coastal states are now being engaged by Nimasa to ensure that they serve as drivers of the growth and development of our oceans and all of the resources within our oceans. This is an important partnership, and would like you to continue the conversation with us on this particular project, the Littoral States Project. You can engage with the DG of Nimasa across his social media handles, from Instagram to Facebook to YouTube, and of course on LinkedIn. There is also the DG's column in the Guardian newspaper, the Maritime Mandate. And this week, in his writing, the DG is clearing a misconception about Nimasa. Most people think that Nimasa is essentially a revenue-generating agency. That when you mention Nimasa, all you get to see is dollar signs, naira signs, that Nimasa just simply focuses on generating revenue. Far from it, Nimasa's statutory responsibility is regulation of activities and practices within the Nigerian maritime ecosystem. And that includes merchant shipping and the protection of our marine environment. You can read all about that in the Maritime Mandate column. You can also extend your conversation to our official social media handles, all at Nimasa Official. When it comes to doing business, your first port of call has got to be the Nimasa Official website as currently displayed on your screen. It contains all of the information about regulations, initiatives, activities, policies designed to help drive whatever maritime business interests that you might have. Thank you for watching today's episode of Nimasa This Week, the Voice of Maritime. And we hope you've been enlightened sufficiently on the progress being made by Nimasa, the progress designed to move our economic fortunes by way of utilizing our waters and our oceans. There's a popular saying in the world of sailing that there is no better tool or equipment you can have on board your ship other than a well-trained crew. I believe this is applicable beyond shipping in every other endeavor involving people and teamwork. And you too can take a cue and learn a lesson from that. So till I see you next time, my name remains Ubong Essien. I'm asking you yet again to stay on course. Bye-bye.